Pod Pals, breaking news. We are doing episode 500 today of Podcasting Business School, and we're doing something different. I teased it last episode, something different's going to be happening, and there is a special secret co-host, and I'm about ready to introduce you to our secret co-host that she's going to interview me. I know that you guys know about me, the Podcasting Business School podcaster guy, but I brought a pod pal, a very good friend of mine. Amanda Walker is going to come on and interview me. Anything goes, whatever she wants to know, I will talk about. It could get scary. Hang on tight, Pod Pals. Here is your guest host, Amanda Walker.
Hi, Pod Pals. I've been dying to say that, by the way. Pod Pals. That's all I have in my big notes. Like, don't forget to say hi, Pod Pals. I'm super excited to flip the script today and be the one interviewing you. And you have no idea what I'm about to ask you.
No idea. I'm super nervous, but excited.
We kind of brainstormed back and forth, like some stories. And then I was really thinking, all right, what do Adam's people want to know about him? And so you guys, I've got you. I have some super juicy questions, some business stuff too, but I always think about the people that I listen to. And I feel like you and I are really bad at thinking that we're cool and that our lives are exciting. Would you agree? You probably think like, oh, my life's pretty boring. What am I going to talk about? Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I feel that way sometimes of like, oh, it's kind of boring or whatever. And then I've been stalking your socials more frequently than normal and doing some prep work to talk about just fun stuff today. But also you've built an empire, really. And I love that you bring to the podcasting world like all of your failures from running other businesses. And I think that is a massive incentive to you. Probably don't highlight that enough, or we don't see it as a strength enough. So I definitely want to dip into some of that. So I'm excited to put you right on the spot today.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get it going. Let's get it going.
Let's go into just some fun things first. What's your favorite thing to eat for breakfast?
Oh, I eat the same thing every single day for breakfast. I eat 1 pound of ground beef with salt and 5 scrambled eggs, and 1 tablespoon of avocado oil straight off the spoon. That's what I eat for breakfast every single day.
Oh my gosh, you and Justin are kindred spirits. That's like literally what he is. And I have a hard time eating ground beef in the morning. It still doesn't land on me well. So just saying. Okay.
It's delicious. If you get a little Redmond real salt on there from the underground cave.
I got highlight in my mug right now.
Yep. It's delicious.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Okay. Another juicy one. When you go to bed at night, what's the last 2 things you do before you like hit your head on the pillow?
This is great. Oh, okay. The first one is normal.
And now you're like going through your routine right now.
The second thing I'm going to tell you is the most embarrassing thing possible that I could tell anyone. So first thing normal. First thing normal is I read, and right now I'm reading all of the Stoic books from Ryan Holiday. So right now I'm reading Stillness is the Key. And I read that for 10 or 15 minutes. I'll get sleepy. That's the first thing. The next thing, the most embarrassing thing in my entire life is I put on my grandma style sleep mask and I go to sleep.
Tell me, can you please describe it? Because grandma style doesn't do it for me.
It is like satin, shiny satin blue. It's not like the cool new age ones that look like goggles and halfway like looking. No, it's like the cloth satin shiny, like, you know, it costs $5 on Amazon. I strap that thing around my head, nighttime.
That's how I do. To La La Land. Oh gosh, that's so funny. What's your go-to workout? Because we're workout people.
Yeah. I am a strength training person. Like I love lifting weights. I've got a full gym in my my basement. Got that all outfitted, and
Are you like Globo gym lifting, like physique lifting?
No.
Or are you like Olympic lifting, more CrossFit style? Like, what does that look like?
A little bit of blend. Like I don't have any machines in my gym. It's all free weights, barbells, dumbbells. Got lots of plates, bumper plates. I'll do a little mix of Olympic lifting. My background's in powerlifting, competed in powerlifting for 5 years. And so I do some sort of leg movement, squats, deadlifts, something like that. Usually pull-ups, some sort of bench press variation, and then, but I do my cardio stuff too, but that's primary. Like 3 to 4 days a week, I like to hit the weights.
Yeah, I love that. 3 days a week at minimal lifting for me too. It's a mix for me. Olympic lifts and also I do love I love some good bicep curls and a good tricep pump though. Can't get
The
away
gun
from
show.
it. Can't take your
Amanda
eye off.
Walker has her tickets to the gun show.
It's definitely in our blood, I feel like still. But let's keep talking. Like other reason I'm kind of going into your routines is something that I admire about you and that you talk a lot about is kind of this 3-day work week. And I was like, but is that real? Like, is that really what's happening? So I wondered if you could speak a little bit to like what those 3 days of work look like. And then I have some questions about the non-work days
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and just to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah, so for those that are curious, this whole concept was introduced to me by a guy named Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach. I was in Strategic Coach for 7 years, and that this is what they preached was not the 3-day work week, but tracking what they call free days, so non-work days. And that's the first thing they teach in that program is how to start taking them and tracking them and measuring them. Just like if you're trying to increase your bench press, like what gets measured gets improved. So you track and measure and set goals around non-work days. And I started off with just taking 1 day off every other week, and then it evolved into I got really efficient with my systems and processes.
But
And
can I interrupt? When you
yeah,
say non-work days, you're saying non-business work days. I just want
yeah,
to clarify, like not working on your business, but
correct.
you're working out, you're doing other
Yeah,
things that people might. I just don't, I want to make sure we're
yeah, yeah,
talking business for the listener, for your listeners,
yes,
just to clarify.
yeah.
So
I don't
1
just
day
sit on the
off of
couch. Yeah,
business. Yeah. Okay.
so non-work day, sit on the
Watch
couch
Suits all day long.
in underwear watching Game of Thrones. Um, so yeah, so a work day. My work days are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I do not work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So work days, I can start as early as I want when I wake up. Tuesday is my longest day. I'll usually work till somewhere between 5 and 7 p.m. depending on evening football practice schedule for my son and all the other things.
Are you coaching him or are you
I
it's
don't
just
coach. I
you're
don't coach
taking him?
football.
Okay.
Well,
Basketball though.
I always get my hands involved a little bit. So I do
Yeah.
like their conditioning program and stuff like
Okay,
that.
got
I
it.
warm them up. I do the thing at the end where I work on sprints and conditioning a little bit.
Cool. Okay.
But yes, that's the longest day. That's kind of my facing forward day. That's what, like today we're recording this content. I record my episodes. I live stream. I do coaching sessions, things like that. And then Wednesday, I usually go from 9 till about 3. And that is project day where I work on, like if I'm right now, I'm updating my signature offer or creating a new course. I'll put in time with that and do discovery calls and some client meetings. And then Thursday is kind of the wrap up and setup day. So follow up emails, closing deals, setting up my schedule for next week, confirming everything, making sure everything looks good so I can walk into the next week ready to go. Not what am I doing this week? I've already got the game plan in place. So those are my work days. And then my non-work days, the main rule that I follow there is I can do emergency work for 20 minutes or less if needed. So I'll scan my email, see if there's anything pertinent that needs to be responded to right away, or if there's just some complaint that needs to be put out, some fire that needs to be put out. I can do that for 20 minutes. I usually do that first thing in the morning. And then so I tell my clients, I'm like, if I'm doing one-on-one consulting, I'm like, hey, if you need to get a hold of me, if you get a hold of me in the evening on Friday through Monday, I'm going to respond usually by 7 a.m. the next day.
The following. Mhm.
Yeah. So I make that understood. That way people aren't just thinking I'm ignoring them.
Right, right.
Email responders are our friend. You can let people know. Hey,
Yes.
and that can create curiosity. Like if I put up an email responder, hey, I don't work Friday through Monday, get back to you on Tuesday. People are like, well, what is he doing that I'm not doing? This sounds pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, totally.
So, but yeah, so those, I focus on, one of the beautiful things about having weekday non-work days. So my Mondays and my Fridays I can really focus a lot on myself on those days. Like, cause the
Yeah, what
kids,
do you fill those days
yeah.
with?
Yeah. Well, the
Like,
kids are
obviously,
gone,
it's summertime
yeah.
versus school
Yeah.
year, so maybe you can give us,
Yeah.
like, a contrast.
Yeah. So school year, the kids are gone. My wife's at work. She works part-time as a physical therapist. So like I can do whatever I want. And that's nice. As entrepreneurs, it's kind of always about everybody else. And then people don't work on the weekend, but it's like I'm at a swim meet for 12 hours and then you got all this other things going on. So having days that you can just pour into yourself is really nice. And that way, when the weekend hits, I can pour into everybody else and my family and really focus on that. And during the summertime, it's a little bit different, but still, I make time for myself on all those off days. So I'm, doing my workouts and I've got everything scheduled. I'm as busy or busier on my non-work days than I am on my actual work days. Like yesterday, we had football, we had swim meets. I invite my son's friends over into our basement and I train 8 of them for free because I'm trying to help them get scholarships and all this stuff. And like I volunteer a lot of time and just a lot of time parenting, coaching, spending time with my wife. Like all that stuff happens on the non-work days, but they still wear me down. I'm just as tired, if not more tired from not
Yeah,
working.
yeah. I mean, the thought that comes like I love this. We're a 4-day work week. We do Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Love to get to 3. Sometimes that doesn't feel like possible for me because I'm just like creative go. It's like so growth. Like how do you tame that? Because I would imagine, like, even on those days, you feel sometimes like this compelled energy to go, like, maybe you have like a creative download or something, or maybe you don't. Maybe that's just me and I'm living in my own world. But like, how do you set a boundary around that? Or in times where you have a big launch or something coming up, do you stay true to that? Like, how do you maintain that?
So this is a really important question. I love it. I feel like we should always feel like we're a little bit hungry for that. Like, like I want
Yeah.
to show up wanting to work, not, oh my God, I gotta put in a day. So if I stop just short where I'm still just a little bit hungry and I'm excited to get right back to like, I got stuff to do. It's Tuesday. Let's go. Let's get rolling. Instead of, oh my God, it's Tuesday, back to the grind. So I want to have that. I wish I could work another hour. I wanted to get some more done. And I get all the essential things done, but if it's project work or whatever, I like that hunger to be there. Now, when I'm in major like new thing creation mode, so I created this podcast growth coach certification thing,
Yep.
completely new offer, all these
Shout
videos.
out to podcast growth certification.
Yeah, so it's a whole new thing. So what I got a totally new project. The nice thing about my schedule is Fridays are already just like completely cleared off, and I can go, okay, I'm going to work on a Friday and spend 3 hours, just pin my ears back and go, and I can create an entire course in one day.
Yes.
Like, and because there's no people aren't used to me responding on Fridays. There's no other distractions. If I want to take a Friday and use it to knock out a project, I can do that in one day usually. So that's what I'll do when I'm in that creation mode. I'm like, I can take a Friday, do a 4-day work week instead of a 3-day work week. No big deal. And we knocked that thing out and we kind of cleared off the plate. Instead of just kind of dripping it in, go, I'm going to film 2 videos this day and then 2 videos tomorrow or whatever. It's just very in the moment. Just I got flow going
Yeah.
on that day. And it's really easy for me to knock something out like that.
Yeah, and I mean, the research shows us 4 hours max is really where we have, like, where we're able to give 100% of focus anyways, and so for me, I run shorter days too, where I mean, so many similarities there, but I always remind myself, like, I'm only at my best for that amount of time anyways, like, then other than that, it's, like, maybe, like, low-level tasks that don't require, like, me at my best self, so
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for shedding light on that because I think what you have is amazing, and I think it inspires your listeners to definitely know what's possible. And I love that you said that autoresponder. We set ours as well, and it's like, hey, we're doing this, and I think I needed to hear it from other people ahead of me too. Like, here's your permission. Like, it's your business. Like, we're not in a 9 to 5 for a reason, so let's hold that standard for ourselves as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you already mentioned obviously the kids and sports, and you're coaching, and I know you coach basketball. I don't know if your son's still playing or who's
Yep.
playing, um, but I know you've had a few like major, major, let's say athletic highlights of your life, and I would love for you to share. Well, two things that I know about you. My son, who's in 7th grade, when I go to his basketball practice right now, all that the 7th and 8th grade boys are doing is trying to dunk, right? That's it. That's all they care about at this moment in time. And I'm like, dude, like it will come. Like you're all going to try to hurt yourself. Could you dunk in the 8th grade, 7th grade, 9th grade? Like, because you're a
Yes.
baller. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. Fun fact, first in-game dunk, 8th grade. I
With
was
everybody just like drop, like paint the picture for us a little bit
okay.
more.
The most attention I ever got from females in my life was like, I think so we played at this, we didn't even have our own gym. We had to play at an elementary school. Shout out to Benford Elementary in Bloomington, Indiana. And there was a Wendy's right down the street. So you play the game, you walk down to Wendy's and hang out
You were
with
so cool.
I sat next to all the cheerleaders that night at the game. Like my teammates couldn't even get to me. I was surrounded by cheerleaders. It only happened for that one time and then it all went away, but it was really awesome. But like I was 5'11", I've always been athletic, had a really strong vertical, cool story about goal setting. So I had one of those like little Nerf mini hoops in my basement, and I'm always watching like the dunk contest. I'm doing all this stuff and trying to replicate it. My dad one day saw me doing that, and he goes, and I'm probably 8 years old. He goes, do you want to dunk on a real goal one day? I go, yeah. So I don't know where he got this from, and I've never asked him this. So he goes, okay, I got an idea for you. So he hung a string from our ceiling, and he goes, I want you to jump up and touch this 10 times with your right hand and 10 times with your left hand every single day. And when you can do that, we're going to cut an inch off. And then,
Genius.
so he would, every time I'd try it, and okay, Dad, I did 10 and 10. Okay, cut an inch off to where I couldn't touch it anymore. And then 10 and 10, cut another inch off to where eventually I was jumping up, touching the ceiling, then touching the ceiling 2 hands, then hitting my head on the ceiling. Then like it really progressed to where in 6th grade, I could jump up and touch the rim on a 10-foot goal. 7th grade, I could almost dunk, and I got called for goaltending a couple of games. And then 8th grade, legit 2-hand, like
I was wondering, was it
dunk.
a 2-hand
Oh
or
yeah.
1-hand? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I got a video of it on my Instagram.
Well, after
And
this episode, your people need to see it.
so yeah, in game, I started winning dunk contests freshman year through senior year, beating like guys that were going into the NBA and all this stuff. And I kept growing. So I ended up being, now I'm 6'4", so that helped quite a bit. But yeah, that was my first like thing I was known as an athlete. I was like the kid that would do all these crazy dunks and warm up and stuff like that.
That's so fun. Well, my son will be so impressed by this story because he's giant for his age too. And he's same thing. It's like touching the rim, like all this exciting stuff. I just love watching all these boys like out there. That's all they care about. Like coach is trying to reel them in and they're just trying to like dunk.
Yeah. Let's shoot some free throws. No, we're trying to touch the rim over here, coach.
Yep, totally, exactly. Let's keep going on just the athletic background too, because we've connected before on our weight loss journeys, and I know that kind of the transition into business initially for you is you lost 100 pounds, and then like you're inspired, you like want to help more people do that. So take us back to that moment. Like, how'd you get there? Like, where were you at the beginning? Like the plus 100-pound version of Adam, and then like what'd you do? Like, what was your secret sauce back then to losing the weight? Because I think it's definitely like, I'm sure I mean, not to speak for you, but like for me, it was the catalyst to my like everything changing in my business was like, not that I'd lived like life a heavy person, but I'd lost myself through pregnancy and had gained all this weight. But I go back and I pinpoint like that transformation made way for everything that I'm doing now.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that wholeheartedly. A lot of people ask me like, well, how you're a basketball player and then like you got heavy and then you became this like weight loss coach guru guy. Like how did that happen? So my senior year of high school was the first time I ever lifted weights. And I got plugged into with a strength coach, ended up becoming my mentor. And I decided I wanted to go to college to become a strength coach and get my kinesiology degree and all this stuff. And I started competing in strength sports. So I started competing in powerlifting, Scottish Highland Games, strongman stuff. And I was tall. I was 6'4". My first powerlifting competition, I competed at 198 pounds. And they're like, you need to gain weight because you're competing against guys that are 5 foot tall that have way better leverage over a guy that wants to squat the most weight possible that is 5 foot tall versus 6'4". I got a longer way to go. So they're like, you got to gain weight. So I put on weight to where eventually I'm competing in the super heavyweight division. I weigh 325 pounds. And I'm strong, but definitely unhealthy. Like you're not putting me on the cover of any fitness magazines or anything. And in that journey, food got out of control. Like food addiction started happening. When you quit playing basketball, start trying to purposely gain weight and you're old enough to drink and you're in college, like 20 pounds a year is pretty easy.
Yeah,
So
and
that
it's like
happens.
once that permission to gain weight for purpose of sport, like, I'm sure there's probably a lot of internal sabotage and justification that happens that takes you
Yeah.
farther than needed.
Yeah. And I was still like I would lie to myself because I was still an athletic freak. Like I was deadlifting 700 pounds. I had a 43-inch vertical at 300 plus pounds. I could broad jump 10 feet. Like I got asked to try out for the football team my senior year, and I hadn't played football since 8th grade. And just because I was just this big physical
Yeah.
freak guy. And it was just, like you said, it just was a downward spiral mentally. And I lost control with the food. And yeah, so then I mean, that went a couple of years after college. I was doing strength coaching and working with athletes, and I didn't really need to be like in great physical shape or worry about my nutrition. All I had to worry was about my athletes getting stronger. That's all I had to worry about. But then I remember I competed in a Scottish Highland Games event. That's where we like wear the kilts and throw the trees and all that stuff. And I was,
Oh, that's what that is.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm running around, doing that deal, and I'm in Colorado, and I can barely freaking breathe because of the altitude. I felt
Like,
terrible.
8,000 feet up.
Yes, I mean terrible. And I quit all the strength sports that day. That was my last event I ever did, and I started losing weight from there. And then once I lost weight, I shifted my business completely. This is when boot camp fitness took off. I started doing that, and then I opened my own facility, and everything just really took off from there. So just like you said earlier, like my own journey, when I'm like, hey, I've lost 100 pounds, and now I'm helping other people do the same thing, and the whole boot camp thing just really started to take off. And I did my first group. I had like 15 people, and they lost a combined like 500 something pounds. And in 8 weeks, and everybody's like, holy cow, when's the next one? I'm like, I didn't even know I was gonna do the first one. And it
Surprise,
just,
I'll tell you.
yeah, and it just kind of went from there. And things got pretty crazy with that business. But yeah, that's how
That's
that
so cool.
transition happened.
I'm so happy for you. When you think back to that transition, like, what can you attribute the 100-pound loss to? I mean, obviously, you mentioned fitness, but I'm sure there was other things. Like, what were the 2 or 3 behavioral things or the things that shifted for you that you feel like helped you lose the weight and keep it off? Because I think the
Yeah.
reason I'm drilling this down, by the way, is I find so many people in the pursuit of a business and just life forget that there's like still these human beings. And I feel that one of the ways to show up more powerfully as an entrepreneur is to be super confident in a healthy body. And I think it's often undervalued and it's not talked about. But I know because we're both, we have we're like athletic families. I watch your kiddo lift too. He seems like he's like a freakish athlete just like you, but there's that modeling piece. But I think this is an important conversation to have because, you know, that very reason. So what do you feel like are your tangible
Yeah.
framework to
Well,
your
I
success?
mean, the switch that got flipped for me, and I talk about this with business or any sort of goal setting, is like the why got bigger than all the why nots all of a sudden.
Mhm.
So I was getting married, starting a family. Like when my son, when I knew my wife was the one that I wanted to marry, I really started getting serious about this and thinking ahead to like kids being born and all this. I'm like, I want to be around. I want to be healthy. I had my day in the sun of getting as strong as possible and doing all this cool stuff and lifting big weights and throwing big trees and rolling around in my kilt. That was all fun. I'm like, it's time to flip the script a little bit here and just kind of go to the next phase of my life. And that includes being healthy for myself, for my family. And that really drove me. Like every
Yeah.
morning I get up and work out and continue to lift and all that stuff. But the why shifted and the why got a whole lot bigger. And then when my son came along, like then it just kind of went to a whole nother level. I was like, we need to be optimally healthy because now I'm responsible for another human being. And this is a really big deal. So,
Yeah. Heck yeah.
yeah, that was the main thing. And just being accountable. Like I had accountability partners. And then when I started coaching other people to do it, really infusing accountability and a community into their journey so that everybody's journey is kind of locked in together. And
Mhm.
like with our boot camp program, we would do weigh-ins every other week, myself included. We had like record boards on the wall where, like we'd celebrate, oh, so-and-so is on the 30-pound board or the 40-pound board or the 100-pound board. And like my name's up there. And if I gain weight, I move my name backwards on the board or whatever. So like
Yeah.
hardcore accountability. It's not for everybody, but that definitely worked for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think it does work for some people. I think we all need some accountability in some form, and those that don't align to it usually are the ones that aren't getting the results, right? Like there needs to be accountability in there,
Yeah.
woven in somehow. Um, okay, let's go a little juicier. How did you and your wife meet?
At the gym. Great story.
Shocker.
So I had noticed her, and let's just put all the cards on the table. I was, believe it or not, I was shy. Like now, like me, Mr. I'll go live stream anytime, any day, you name it, completely different person. But I noticed her, and I was trying to figure out a way to talk to her at the gym, basically. And it's been like a couple of weeks or whatever. And I am competing in the powerlifting meet. And I knew that she was a physical therapist because the reason she was in our gym is she had worked on one of the owners at the gym that I was lifting at. So I knew I had a connection there. I'm like, I just have to ask Matt to introduce us or something. And I'm in my last powerlifting meet. I'm deadlifting 688 pounds and I tear my groin. I completed the lift. Good lift, snapped my groin.
Ah.
And that was my end. I walked next time I saw her, I go,
Oh,
hey,
yeah, because she's okay,
I
got it.
go, this happened for a reason. So I walk up to her, and as I'm walking up to her, I like trip over a piece of gym equipment, by the way, like total smooth guy. I'm already hurt. I'm like limping around. I go, hey, I know you helped Matt out. I think I need to have this looked at. I think I've torn my groin, and it's like
Yeah, do you mind
purple.
looking at my groin,
I
which
mean,
is
it's
not an
purple.
awkward.
Yeah. I had nice looking legs, like a squat, 600 plus pounds. That's a nice developed quads. I'm like, would you mind looking, look at this. Behold, muscle. So she goes, yeah, I can help you out. And she worked on my groin and did Graston therapy. Do you know what Graston therapy is with like the ceramic
Oh, the
knife?
scraper? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but it looks a little different. Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Yes. It's the worst, y'all. And according to my wife, the groin is the second most painful zone to have Graston therapy on. You're basically like taking like a ceramic knife and scraping scraping the scar tissue off the muscle. The Achilles and the calf is the worst. The groin is second. So I'm sweating, like I'm all bruised up. I'm trying to play it cool. And I'm just like trying not to cry in front of her. And I asked her to go and see Napoleon Dynamite with me. And the rest is history.
The rest is history. I mean, it's smooth move on the movie too. We just like finally let our kids see that movie too. It's a
Yeah.
good classic. What is that? 2000s-ish movie that
Yeah.
came
I mean, it
out?
was the
Like
third
or
time I
initial.
saw it, if that
Yeah.
tells you anything.
Yeah.
So
That's all. Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So how do you obviously she's a PT, you're running the show. How do you find I mean, Justin and I, like, we both run businesses. He does, a lot of travel. I know you're traveling. So how do you maintain, like, this communication and, let's just say, rhythm between both of you working, maintaining the kids, like, running a business? Do you have anything to offer that, like, are the keys to your success as a family or a couple?
I think the amount of non-work days that I take really does help because it's just like it makes it a lot easier for me to prioritize family first. And like we just work together and communicate so well as a team where like she just knows like, okay, school's getting ready to, be out, summertime break. Let's sit down and game plan. Here are the hours that she's gonna work. Because I'll be like, all right, Tuesdays, I need you to be home a little bit more because that's my long day and I may not be able to take a break to make lunch and all that stuff. Pretty much every other day, work whatever you want, and I can take breaks to, I usually make all the meals for our family. I'm like, I'm doing workouts with the kids, but all that is communicated and it's all appreciated, and
Yeah.
it's not normal. Like I'm dropping them off. I drop them off and pick them up from school 3 days a week, 3 days a week. She does 2 days of the week. And it's just like, there's a lot of just, we work together and it's not the normal, like I'm usually one of the only dads in the drop off pickup line or like the whatever stuff, but it's just like, we divide and conquer. She's at swim meet. I'm at football practice or vice versa. And it's just, I think the communication and just updating each other on what we need. And it's like, okay, like the Tuesdays, like I need to be able to do a long day on Tuesday. can you step that up and
Yeah. Can you
be
cover
home,
me?
be home? Yep, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's so good. So you mentioned obviously podcast growth certifications coming out, or is has launched really, and you're continuing to grow that. You've got some well-oiled machines and systems, but I'm curious, where are you dreaming about going in the next 5 years? Like future Adam, 5 years from now, how will it be different, or will it be different? Or are there just like some internal goals that you're keeping an eye on? Are you buying a house in the Maldives? Like what? I don't know. I just made that up. But like, what's your thing?
I mean, I see myself continuing to lean more into my kids and like their development and like all that is just as important as the business stuff right now. Like I've got 5 years left with my son at home and then he goes to college. So that's something I think about and get emotional about every single day. I'm like, oh
We're
man.
feeling that.
And that's going to be tough. But so kind of like prepping them. And so I see a steady progression of the outside of work life and the importance there, but and optimizing my business around that, going, okay, like I'm doing a lot less one-on-one consulting, coaching, more group stuff, more kind of campaign based. Okay, this is going to be a 12-week or 6-week program, not a you get me all the time kind of a program. So being really strategic and aligning my business against the family schedule. So I'm like, okay, football season, like next year after in the spring, my son's gonna have to go to like he might
High
start
school
getting
trip.
invited to camps and stuff like that and like college recruiting and all this stuff. So it's like I have to make sure I'm not on the road speaking because I got to get him out to these things if he gets opportunities or gets invited. So like little things like that it's it's like the family schedule becomes the priority and my business schedule works around the family schedule even more. So that's I see a nice steady progression of that and just optimizing with my offers. I'm big on simplification, so I'm not going to have 20 new offers or anything like that. I just keep making the ones that I've got
Better.
optimal. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. We were having this conversation because our family has this spot that we discovered for spring break travel that we like love to go to. And we're always I don't know if this is like you guys, we always want to go to new places, but there's also something special about like going back to the same place over and over. And so we just
Yeah.
all fell in love with this spot and we invited some friends to jump in with us and we were having this conversation like we just booked it. We just made this decision as a family. We're like every spring break this is where we're going to go. We happened to be in conversation. We invited our friends, and their discussion was like, oh, well, we have to lock in like the sports schedules and the tournament schedules. And while both my kids play club sports and I'm here for that, I'm also at the same thing. I have 4 more spring breaks with our daughter
Oh,
before she goes
don't
to
put it that
college.
way. Don't
4 more spring breaks, right? And
don't
I
do that to
hope
me.
that spring break she'll wanna come and we can keep doing that, and maybe it's gonna have to shift to different seasons or whatever, but I also, like, raised an independent woman, and I'm raising an independent woman to go out and, like, pursue her dreams too and just know she's always got this landing place, but I just feel so grateful just to reiterate your conversation of being in the position where we've created the ability to do exactly what you just said, to be like, this is the season I'm in and I can push the gas pedal down or lift up slightly to support this kind of reality of where we're settling into. So I love hearing you say that so much.
Yeah. Yeah. The four spring break thing that just rocked my world.
I'm sorry. I'm
Please don't say that
sorry.
ever again.
I will never say that again. Justin and I were just like landing on it last night specifically. We're having this conversation. Our friends were like, "We don't know if we can come. We've got tournaments on both ends." We're like, "Hey, we're gonna have tournaments too. We've got four springs break, blah, 4 spring breaks. We're not missing them." So,
Let me freak you out now in return.
oh no,
90% of the time that you'll ever spend with your child is before they leave for college, like basically
I've heard that.
18 or younger. That I hate that stat.
I know, and honestly, this is why we homeschool, our second, not to go down that road, but, like, that was a really hard decision as we moved in because to this school year, like, do we keep him home again? Do we not? And really, the main reason is we just all love being together,
Yeah.
and, like, we only get this one shot, right? And pretty soon, football, sports, like, that's a dream for him of a higher level, and so he's gotta go back into, you know, traditional school for it to happen, but I
Yeah.
digress. I feel you on that so much. Um, So you had a moment, you shared this little story with me at some point, or maybe I've seen it maybe on your socials, I can't remember, but, you have done Dancing with the Stars, like ballroom
Yeah.
status dancing.
Yeah.
How in the heck do you even get like, tell me about that story, like, how do you even get connected to something like that?
Okay. So Bloomington, Indiana, college town, they got this event they call it Dancing with the Celebrities. Um, which is like their local version of Dancing with the Stars, but it's still like a legit thing. You have to, you know, my gym was doing really good. I had started the podcast. I was kind of a person in the know, so they put me up there. It'll be like former Indiana University athletes or,
Cool.
stuff like that. So I say yes to it, and I go all out because I want to win. There's a dancing component and a charity component. You have to do 3 dances. There are 600 people in that audience. Like, it's a packed auditorium, and they assign you an instructor. And I went hardcore. Like, I'm practicing every single day. I literally wore out the carpet in my living room, practice my dance steps. I did a waltz, a hot cha-cha, and a salsa. And
Look at you and your words. I didn't even
yes,
know there's such thing as a hot cha-cha. I thought it was
yes.
just the cha-cha.
No, well, before I did it, it was just called the cha-cha, and then became the hot cha-cha. So I just thought of that. So
That was well played.
that was
Really well
pre-Adam doing it.
played.
So this is intense. So I think there's like 5 or 6 competitors, and I ended up, I wanted to win the charity raising and the dancing because I'm competitive. So I'm doing all these crazy events at my gym, and everybody's rallying around it. I did an event where, like, it was kind of a typical fundraiser, but I was like, hey, if we raise over $10,000 tonight, I have people standing by to wax the arm hair and leg hair off my body in front of all of you. And we were at like 8,500 something. I'm like, I really want to just get close and call it good. And like, it was by 10 p.m. We had to hit 10K by 10 p.m. 10 p.m. is rolling around, and this woman steps up and goes, how much do we need? How far away are we? I was like, well, about 1,500. She wrote a check, and here comes the hot wax. Worst ever. The arms weren't so bad, but the legs, the higher up they got, my God, that was terrible. Like,
Us
the
ladies are like,
worst,
"Yeah, we know."
the worst. I'm German. Like, I got body hair, and I mean, it was like the 40-year-old version. I'm like, Kelly Clarkson, like,
Yes.
it was a mano lantern, and it really, that was a special moment. But we ended up raising $35,000 for Boys and Girls Club, just
That's
our
so
group
awesome.
alone. Um, I won the dance competition, and
Of course you did.
the winning dance was the hot cha-cha that we did too. I'm Sexy and I Know It. And if you search my full name and put sexy dance behind it in YouTube, the video is there and you can see. But yeah, that was really awesome. It was really nerve-wracking to get up in front of 600 people and they're going crazy. And I'm in very glittery, bedazzled outfits. And, you know, I I did a dance. We danced to Olivia Newton-John's "Let's Get Physical," and it was kind of like a old gym class theme. So I'm in like short shorts and pulled up tube socks and this glittery
That
top.
is epic. Everybody right now, you need to rush. Go plug it into your search bar. I am sure none of us will be sad that we
Yes,
searched that because I'm sure it is a very epic, and I
special.
think you should probably include it in the show notes too for everybody if you can,
Let's
or
do that. Let's
on
do
your
that.
socials or something like that. It's gonna be like the most, clicked on page when you go to Google Analytics ever just to
Yeah,
see your
Adam
hot
dancing
cha-cha.
around.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Um, this has been so fun just to, like, of course, help your listeners get to know you. I have one final question, and then
Okay.
I'll throw it back to you. Aside from family, so we're gonna put family to the side because I think that, sometimes that may or may not be the obvious. Like, who is the most influential person for you in your life, or that made a greatest impact in your journey at some point?
Outside of family completely, so like extended family and everything, I would say my high school basketball coach, Coach Holmes, shout out to JR. Like, he was, I was best friends with his son growing up. Like, they lived down the street. always over there, always eating his food. His wife Martha making me breakfast, and she loved me because I would eat like crazy, and her son was like very picky. She's like, I like when Adam comes over. She'd make me all my favorite foods and everything. But great coach, the most winningest basketball coach in Indiana basketball high school history. That's saying something. Like there's a
That's
lot
so
of,
cool.
of
Yeah,
and
for
just a
sure.
great mentor. Taught me a lot about showing up, taking responsibility, taking accountability, and being a man. So outside of immediate family, shout out to Coach Holmes.
I love that so much. Thank you for letting me be in the driver's seat on today's episode for all the pod pals. Just trying to say pod pals again as many times. It's awesome to hear this like real side of you, the non-businessy side. I mean, we talk business too, but I'm grateful for the opportunity and just celebrating your milestones, epic work you do. Things I've learned from you on this journey too have been pretty awesome. So thanks for letting me ask you all the juicy questions today.
Well, and thank you for helping me celebrate episode 500 of Podcasting Business School. This is a big deal.
Heck
It's,
yeah, it is.
it's
Little round of applause.
big deal for
500
me.
consistent episode. That's the thing. The consistency is
Yeah,
no matter how many people like download, those are important things too. But it's the fact that you showed up consistently for your people for 500 episodes. That is the magic.
yep. Never missed a week. Proud of that. So
You should be.
now I want you to shout out all things Amanda Walker because obviously we're doing one of these for your show where I get to interview you, and I'll make sure I shout that out as well. But a lot of people know that your show is one of the shows that I listen to every single week. Like there's like 3 to 4 shows I listen to every single week, and Best Damn Coach is one of those. And I refer people your direction all the time. But where do people go to connect with you? What do you have cooking that they may want to plug into?
Yeah, well, I'm grateful for that. Always learning because of you as well. Yeah, I mean, first off, just plug into the show, right? Search on your favorite platform, Best Damn Coach. Obviously, we seek to support coaches, mentors, practitioners to be better at coaching and make money doing what we love. Instagram is where I hang out, a walk my way, and my specialty is really teaching coaches how to build out frameworks. And so if you have questions about that, you want to hook into our free training that we do every week, you can head on over to my website, amanda-walker.com/framework. Get to know me there, meet me, and yeah, just send me a message. Say hi. Like you don't have to do all those other things. Like just let me know you heard me on Adam's show, and then if you're Adam's people, we'll be fast friends, no doubt.
Yep. Yeah. And y'all got to plug into Amanda's free stuff. It'll blow you away. You'll feel like you should have paid for it. Like that's how good it is. So that's
Thank
the response I usually get when I send people, go do the thing. You'll be impressed. Don't worry. Like, wow, I can't believe that was free. So Amanda, appreciate you. Pod pals, thank you for supporting me in this show through 500 episodes. Can't wait for the next 500. Shout out to future Adam at episode 1000. We'll pre-shout out
Adam.
that. But proud of the show, proud of the brand, proud of what we're building together. You guys are a major part of this, the most important part. So I appreciate you. And as always, we'll send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you for the next 500 episodes.
Woo woo.